Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So the first thing I'm going to do is explain the player board and how it works. Everybody's going to get 4 elves that they'll be using as workers to place down the board. We'll get that to soon. And you'll be able to upgrade these workers as you go with different powers. So if you get an upgrade, it will go on a particular worker. So when I place this worker, he will have this upgrade, but this worker will not. So your different workers are going to kind of get individualized as you go on, and they'll be upgraded and trained in certain areas. So that's what these spots are going to do. So when you place him out, he's going to get +2 of this color when he goes to that location. But he will get 2 blue when he goes to that location. And then you're going to have spots over here. We're going to have your coal. If you're able to put 2 of the gray on here, you can upgrade when you go to get coal. 2 pink here will give you 4 victory points. And you can, if you put a wood here, you can actually hold more coal. Because coal is going to be the first resource you're going to get into the game. So it's going to kind of hold everything that you're doing on the board and kind of organize you as you play. Now the game is going to be played over 9 rounds. You're going to play 3 rounds and have a scoring, 3 rounds have a scoring, 3 rounds have a scoring, and then you'll go into the end game. For the most part, the game is going to be a worker placement. You're going to take your elf and you're going to place it out on the board. As I've already shown you, sometimes your elves will have bonuses, and we'll go through each of the spots on the board and I'll show you how that they work. Now it's important to note that some of the spots on the board are going to be listed only for a certain number of players. So let's just take a look at this. So if you get this first spot, any one of these spots here, you can choose one of these upgrades. I've already shown you where the upgrades go, and what they're going to do is give you additional. So this one, when he goes to the assembly, he's going to get an additional assembly. This guy, when he goes and gets gray cubes, he's going to get 2 additional gray cubes. So you're going to be upgrading your elves as you go. Up here is where you're going to get your goods. So if you go to this one, you're going to get gray, purple, orange, or plastic. I'll come back to plastic in a moment. These 3 are going to give you 2 spots that you can go here for each of these. 3 are going to all work the same. And this one, if you give up 1 coal, you're going to get 2 gray cubes. But if you give up 3 coal, you give up 3 gray cubes. So price per cube is cheaper if you go here, but you're going to get less and spend less actions. So you're going to spend coal to get resources in these spots. Now this spot right here is only 1. If you send an elf here, you're going to get 7 plastic. Let's talk about that for just a second. As you progress through the game, you're going to be able to get these gifts, and they're going to be up here, face up, that you're going to be able to gain as you play the game. Now you're going to have 2 locations here. This one will let you have 3 of these cards. Now you just like Ticket to Ride, you can take a face up card or one from the top of the deck. And what these are going to be are gifts, and this is what you're trying to build to get victory points. The other spot allows you to clear all those out, discard them, and refill it, but you only get 2 gifts that you're trying to fulfill at that point. So how do you fulfill the cards? We're going to talk about that right now. So each of these cards are going to require goodies. In this case, you need orange cubes and 2 assembly points, and that will give you 13 victory points. This one, 2 orange and an assembly will give you 8 victory points. This one says 2 gray, 2 assembly will give you 11. But look, that one's half white. That means I can spend plastic on that one. But if I do, I only get 10 victory points because plastic is cheaper to get. This one requires 3 purple and assembly, and I get 11, and so on. So some of these, like this one right here, is very interesting. 2 purple, an orange, and a gray, 2 assembly gives me 17, but it has 4 plastic. So if I were to spend all 4 plastic, I would only get 7 points for finishing. If I did 3 plastic, I would get 10, 12, or 15. If I used all the cubes that are required and no plastic, I would get 17. So that's an important concept because plastic is easier to get. I can get 7 plastic. Now what's also important to note is that when you take these cubes, I have to have these cards in front of me. I don't store these finished cubes anywhere. They have to immediately go on top of a card. So if I was to get those cubes, I would place it right on top of the card. Once I play it there, it's good. I can't assemble it until I have all of the resources to build it first. And that leads me to the next spot, which is assembly. This gives me 2 assembly points, and this gives me 1, 1, or 2. And what that means is I'm going to get these little chits, and I can place them out and give me assembly. So after I have all of the resources, so I either have 4 plastics or 2 purple, orange, gray, or some combination, then I would get 2 assembly points and I would accomplish this. Then would go in my assembled pile. Look, your letter to Santa's been answered, and I would get the amount of cookies or victory points listed on the card. So there is a race to get resources and then come to this assembly part and assemble the pieces so you can score these victory points. So that leaves a couple more spots on the board. So you'll notice that you're spending coal to get these resources. So there's a catch-all spot up there. Every elf can go there, it doesn't matter, it's not limited, and go up there and get 4 coal, which you will take from the bag of cubes. And remember, coal is used to go here to get resources, which are used to fulfill this after you assemble it. So it's kind of a little bit of a chain that you'll have going on here. The last spot is going to be these deer and the reindeer. You always have to go feed Santa's reindeer. As the game progresses, each round, you will be putting a cookie out on each spot. And if a spot isn't taken in a round, you will place an additional one. So some of these will be worth more than others, and cookies are quite simply victory points. So the game is pushing you to go to these locations because the less you go there, the more valuable it is. What's great about this, and there's 4 locations here in a 5-player game, there's 3 locations in a 3 or 4-player game, and only 2 locations in a 2-player game. But what it's going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to get resources without paying the coal. So you can skip the whole coal to resource and just get it. So Dasher's going to give you, not only do you get the resource, you're going to get the victory points. You're going to take this and score the points immediately. He's going to give you 1 purple, 1 orange, 1 gray, 2 coal. He'll give you first player. Cupid will give you 1 of these cards up here that you can take. Dasher's going to give you Zelf the elf. I'll come back to him. And Blitzen will give you 1 assembly point. Now, Zelf the elf is a person that you can grab. And what's great about Zelf is he can be used anywhere up here. So he's like a temporary worker that you're going to get for the round. And you can utilize him on one of these spaces up here. Nowhere else in the shop. He just likes to go here. Then at the end of the round, he'll go back for somebody else to select him. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to do that for 3 rounds and place all your elves, get your elves back, reset the board. But when you get to the sleigh, into the scoring, what you're going to do is whoever has accomplished the most of these is going to score victory points. You can score 2 points for each card that you have accomplished. Then, whoever has the second most will score 1 point for each one they've accomplished, and so on and so on. So it's going to behoove you to try to get these done as quickly as possible as you're going through the game. Then when you get to the end, you're going to score 1 more time for that bonus, and then you'll do end of game scoring. Whoever has got the most Christmas cookies is going to be your winner.